Hebrew Bible often shows the Canaanite people and their beliefs in a bad light, criticized by Yahweh and his prophets. This negative view is still seen in today's Jewish and Christian opinions, which dislike Canaanite traditions. Understanding the real beliefs of the Canaanites is hard because even the term Canaanite religion causes debate. The early Israelites might have actually been Canaanites, making it difficult to tell these groups apart. What might we discover about their shared history? Recent discoveries by archaeologists have started to challenge the long-standing belief that Canaanites and Israelites were two distinct cultures. The artifacts and remnants from that time show a lot of similarities between these groups, indicating that the culture of the Israelites was closely connected to and significantly influenced by Canaanite culture. As the worship of Yahweh became strictly monotheistic, many aspects of Israel's earlier polytheistic traditions, which were similar to those of the Canaanites, were labeled as wrong and abandoned. Furthermore, Smith suggests that many rituals and customs identified as Canaanite in religious writings might have originally been part of the early Israelite religion, but were later denied as monotheism centered around Yahweh took hold. The term Canaanite itself, often thought to refer to a specific ethnic group, is more accurately a geographical term, originating from how ancient Egypt defined administrative areas in the Levant, rather than a clear marker of ethnic or cultural identity. Understanding the complexities surrounding Canaanite religion is crucial for anyone studying the religious environment of the Bronze and Iron Ages in the Levant. In this context, anyone living in the broad area known as Canaan could be seen as following Canaanite religious practices, regardless of their exact ethnic or religious background. The complex nature of the term often leads to confusion about the religious behaviors common among these ancient people. To be more specific, let's define Canaanite religion as primarily the religious practices of the area's inhabitants before the rise of Israel during the Bronze Age, although we will also consider information from the Iron Age. This definition has its challenges, as it covers a broad period and includes diverse cultural influences, complicating the idea of a unified Canaanite religious identity. Canaanite religion was distinctly polytheistic, similar to other ancient polytheistic religions like those of the Greeks, Norse, and Egyptians. However, the Canaanites did not leave as much mythological literature as these other cultures, forcing scholars to reconstruct their religious beliefs from archaeological findings and the limited written sources that exist. This effort often results in a pantheon that varies significantly from one source to another, showing a religion that varied widely across different regions and was difficult to categorize neatly. This varied understanding is made even more complex because the gods worshipped by the Canaanites and their rituals changed over time. These changes were influenced by interactions with neighboring cultures and the internal dynamics of different city-states within Canaan. Each area and time period likely had its own unique religious practices and beliefs, which scholars are still trying to piece together today. The goal for contemporary researchers is to build a more coherent picture from these various fragments, aiming to understand better how the ancient Canaanites viewed their gods and structured their spiritual lives amidst the broader religious landscape of the Near East. During the Bronze Age, when various cultures and traditions intertwined and diverged, religion was a fundamental and expressive part of human life. This period was marked by an incredible diversity of religious practices, with different areas, cities, and even neighborhoods possibly venerating a unique array of gods and goddesses. Amid this complex array of divine worship, a process known as religious syncretism, where different religious traditions merge, was particularly prominent. Major powers like the Egyptians and Hittites significantly influenced Canaanite religious practices, integrating their gods into the existing local religious framework. This blend of theological elements created a dynamic and changing religious landscape where gods could become more or less important, and some deities might split into different forms or combine into a single entity. Although Ugarit wasn't directly part of Canaan, it shared a deep spiritual connection with it. The city was destroyed around the 13th century BCE, but it left behind a rich collection of writings found through careful archaeological work. These writings, called the Ugaritic texts, offer a unique and very valuable look into the religious practices of the area, revealing details about the Canaanite gods with impressive clarity. Understanding the Canaanite gods, however, is not a simple task. The religion changed over time, influenced by both internal changes and interactions with others. This adaptability led to some gods becoming more important, while others became less significant. Some gods split into different forms, while others merged into a single figure. This constant evolution of the gods highlights the dynamic nature of the Canaanite religion. reflecting the unpredictable and constantly changing world in which these people lived. Despite the complexities, the Ugaritic texts reveal that the Canaanite gods were organized like a family tree with 4 distinct levels: the main gods, the council of gods, the gods of everyday life, and the messenger gods. At the top of this structure was El, the main god, often shown as a wise old man, whose sacred animal, the bull, symbolized his power and strength. El's partner Ashera was by his side, and together they had 70 sons, making up the Council of Gods. However, it's important to be cautious when studying these texts. Scholars don't all agree on the details about these gods, their characteristics, their roles, and the stories about them. The discussions are as lively today as they might have been in ancient times, reflecting the dynamic and sometimes contentious nature of studying religion. Studying the Canaanite religious system offers more than just academic knowledge. It provides a glimpse into the thoughts and lives of ancient people, offering insights into their beliefs, their ways of living, their governance, and their social interactions. By putting together the scattered stories and gods from these ancient texts, we learn not only about a long-forgotten religion, but also gain a deeper understanding of human history and culture during a time of significant change and diversity. Originally an outsider, Baal-Hadad, also known as the Lord of Thunder, managed to become a key member of the divine family, achieving a status similar to that of El's sons, possibly because he was considered El's grandson. His inclusion in the pantheon highlighted Baal's divine importance and showed Canaanite religious structures' flexibility and openness to change and include new gods. The epic tales of the Baal cycle vividly show Baal's dramatic rise within this divine hierarchy. In these stories, Baal fights Yam, the powerful god of the sea, in a fierce battle that not only displays Baal's strength and strategic skills, but also secures his position as a protector and warrior god. Although El initially opposed him, the elder god eventually recognized Baal's bravery and achievements, giving him a palace and promoting him to a patron god, a role that greatly increased his importance among the gods and his worship among the people. But Baal's challenges were far from over. He later faces a more serious threat from Mot, the god of death. In this intense battle, Baal is defeated and seemingly meets his end at the hands of Mot. However, the cycle of death and rebirth continues as Anat, Baal's sister, and in some accounts his wife, fights to rescue him from the underworld, leading to his resurrection or a rebirth-like event. This story, open to various interpretations, illustrates the recurring themes of life, death, and renewal common in ancient mythologies, and underscores Baal's key role as the king of the gods. The Council of Gods, another important part of the Canaanite religious structure, includes cosmic gods, the children of El and Ashera. Among these, Anat is notable as the goddess of love and war, a complex figure who embodies both strength and passion. Her relationship with Baal adds depth and complexity to their divine personas, reflecting the often intricate and intertwined relationships among gods in many ancient mythologies. Adding further complexity to the pantheon are figures like Astarte and other goddesses who share traits with Anat, leading to scholarly debates about their distinct identities or potential merging over time. After the Bronze Age, these goddesses often combine into a single deity, Atargatis, merging their traits and stories into one unified goddess of love and war. Other notable deities in the second tier include Dagon, the god of grain and rain, Resheph, the god of plague and pestilence, and lesser-known but pivotal figures like Yam, often compared to the Leviathan, and Moloch, associated with human sacrifice. This diverse array of gods reflects the varied aspects of life and nature that the Canaanites revered and feared. The foundation of the divine hierarchy is inhabited by lesser gods who act as messengers. These beings are similar to the angels described in biblical texts, serving as conduits between the gods and the human world. Their roles highlight the organized nature of the Canaanite religious system, which reflects the intricate social structures that existed during that period. Within the broader context of ancient Near Eastern beliefs, the Canaanite religious system is particularly notable for its detailed network of divine patronage, where the realms of politics and spirituality are intimately connected. Kings, who were seen as earthly agents of the gods, were chosen by these higher powers to enforce sacred laws, perform sacrifices, and collect offerings. Typically, each king would align closely with a chief god, specific to his city or region, placing this god at a higher rank within a detailed spiritual hierarchy that shaped the religious and political landscape. This system of patronage was not just symbolic, but had real-world implications, shaping everyday life and the broader political landscape of Canaanite city-states. Kings had the divine responsibility to promote justice, improve the welfare of their people, and ensure peace. Failing their God-given duties often led to severe consequences, manifested through invasions or other forms of divine punishment. Despite changes over time, the principle of divine patronage remained a constant and powerful force, deeply influencing Canaanite society and culture. The act of animal sacrifice was a fundamental aspect of this religious structure, a practice common throughout the Near East. In Canaan, these rituals involved killing and burning animals at significant religious sites like temples or on high altars. These sacrifices were vital for the kingdom's success, believed to earn the gods' favor. Additionally, they served two purposes: expressing gratitude and providing nourishment to the deities. The design of Canaanite sacred places varied greatly, showing influences from neighboring cultures like Egypt and the Hittites, and reflecting Canaan's own ethnic diversity. For example, in the southern part of Israel, in the region of Timnah, a temple dedicated to the Egyptian goddess Hathor was discovered, indicating the complexity in defining Canaanite religion due to such mixed cultural practices. Regardless of their architectural differences or the ethnic backgrounds of their patrons, these temples were central to the religious activities of the Canaanites, hosting numerous rituals and celebrations. Practices involving astrology, magic, and rites to honor the dead were widespread. Festivals, especially those marking the harvest and the new year, similar to the Jewish celebration of Yom Kippur, were crucial. Another important event was the Marzea, a feast for the upper class. However, there are also accounts of more contentious practices within Canaanite religion, such as human sacrifice and alleged temple prostitution. Human sacrifice, particularly in times of military crisis or as a ritual following victory, is documented, although sensational stories of infanticide are disputed. Archaeological evidence from Phoenician outposts hints at such practices, but interpretations vary, with some experts suggesting high rates of infant mortality might explain the large number of infant graves found near sacred sites. The biblical references to Moloch, a god associated with child sacrifice, are also contested, with some recent academic work suggesting that Moloch may not refer to a specific god, but rather to a type of sacrificial act. Regarding temple prostitution, often mentioned in biblical texts, many contemporary scholars think these references are metaphorical, using sexual imagery to describe idol worship rather than actual historical practices. This misunderstanding highlights the challenge of extracting concrete historical facts from religious writings, which frequently blend literal descriptions with symbolic expressions. Do you think modern religions have similar complexities as ancient ones? If you enjoyed this discussion, please like and subscribe for more.